Good morning, Patriots. How are you today? This is Mike Cook coming to you live from Central Missouri. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. Spring has sprung for sure. It is 5/14/2021. It is Friday. Some of us, that's the day that we get to end our week, and some of us, it doesn't really matter. I'm one of those. I hope as you're coming on, you're having a great day. I hope you got yourself a steaming hot cup of coffee to get your day going. This is, as I've said before, usually my third or fourth cup. So I've already been going. Anywho, as you're jumping on, say hi. Where are you watching from? I do like to connect with people. If this is the first time you're seeing me, let me know. I like to connect. Say hi. How are you? If you think I'm crazy and you want to spout off at the mouth and be a troll, go ahead. I don't mind. But don't insult the Lord God above or the other folks watching this. You can insult me all you want. Doesn't bother me. I might send it back to you. So I hope you enjoy that one. Also, do me a favor, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell and hit the like button. I do appreciate that. That would help. They might actually send you notification when I go live. Maybe, because you know how that works. Also, if you're on Facebook, do me a favor, drop out, go to my page, and follow me right now. They also might send you notification when I go live. But I go live on YouTube and Facebook every day at 8:30. I'm also loading it up. As soon as I'm done, I load it up onto Rumble. That's my Rumble account. And on the Telegram. And also on Telegram, I put all of the stuff that I'm researching and all the stuff that interests me, whatever. It's my giant stack of stuff, ode to Rush Limbaugh. I try to organize it. It's not very organized, but so that's where I'm playing my videos from. It's the easiest way for me to set everything up. So if you want to know what I'm thinking about, that's the place to be. Just type in t.me/Patriot Mike Thoughts, and that will get you straight over to there. I will share the link in the comment section to my channel over on Telegram. So all you have to do is download it to your phone or to your computer, and it doesn't work in a web browser. It's a separate platform, and drop that in there. And that once you download it, just drop the link I just shared into the comment section, and that'll allow you to access Telegram. And Telegram right now is where freedom of speech is for as long as that lasts. Eventually, they'll get a hold of it and squash that too, because that's what they do. That's how they destroy our freedom of speech. And yes, we are being censored everywhere. And yes, there are tyrants at every level, whether it's your local health board or school board, all the way up to the President of the United States. Tyrants is as tyrants does. So, what's happening around the world today? First, I want to play you a little video what's going on over in Arizona. They had a news broadcast the other day that didn't quite go as planned, or a weather broadcast. I thought this was pretty good.
We'll bring you on into the temps, and we're all doing okay. Wow, 750 degrees in Gila Bend right now. And 1,270 in Ahwatukee. Now, I'm not authorized to evacuate Ahwatukee, but this temperature seems pretty high.
Cave Creek is really
Yeah, Cave Creek, Fountain Hills, they don't look good either. And frankly, Wickenburg is a total loss.
Oh my God.
You might as well just get out of anywhere along the 60 here. It's very warm. Surprise is starting to heat up as well at 1,300 degrees. So again, the safe spots seem to be tranquil. Scottsdale is doing okay so far, but you're sort of surrounded by some pretty intense heat. So, again, I'm not your dad, but I would get out while you still can. I think steel boils at about this temperature. So Cave Creek, there's probably nothing left up there right now. So don't even bother looting up there. It's not going to be worth it.
So you have a temperature rising, hot summer in Arizona. I don't think that's quite what was meant by that particular prophecy, but you know, you got to have some fun with it. What's the point if you don't have any fun? Oh my goodness. Things are just happening so fast. I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I want to put in this video. That there's just so much information out there, whether it's what's happening over the Middle East with Israel and Hezbollah and the Gaza Strip, all that bombing the crap out of each other. And now there's missiles starting to come from the north, from Lebanon. And this is all backed by Iran. And this is all basically because of the inaptitude of the current occupant in the White House. And I wasn't going to start out with this video, but I just thought that this was a pretty good little explanation of what's going on and why the world is asunder. And then we'll get to the Maricopa stuff. But this is a video that was on CPAC Now. It was just it explains what's going on in the Biden administration pretty well. And it's actually got some shocking revelations in it. So go ahead and just listen to this here.
Susan Rice has been appointed as domestic policy advisor. That's a joke. She doesn't know anything about domestic policy. However, what it indicates is that we are going to run our international policy, of which Susan Rice is an expert. She was at the UN. She was national security advisor. She was rumored to be Secretary of State, but she didn't have the votes, the Senate confirmation votes enough to get there. So she's a foreign policy expert that's been placed in the domestic policy role. And that is just a clear signal that all of our international issues, our foreign policies, are going to be treated like domestic policy. And what this means is when you read Ilhan Omar's tweet, this is a problem for the Democratic Party. The foreign policy mess that they are creating is a mess because they are placating the far left domestically. It's part of that cancel culture, identity politics. They're beating up on Israel because it pleases the far left. They are trying to reach out to Iran and pretend like the Iranian regime should be respected because it pleases the far progressive left. This is the upside down world of the Biden administration. President Biden is too weak to stop the progressive lefts from taking over the domestic and foreign policy. Yep. Kamala Harris does not understand what's going on because she's not an expert on foreign policy. And Susan Rice is really happy that Biden is too weak. Kamala is totally distracted with the 50-50 Senate and has to be up at the Senate. She's running the show. We have a shadow president in Susan Rice, and no one is paying attention.
So if you didn't catch that at the end there, basically what he's saying is that Susan Rice is see a lot of people saying, oh, it's Kamala Harris, but she's kind of out of her element and doesn't know what's going on. She only takes orders. I mean, she's had no executive experience whatsoever. She went from being a prosecutor, attorney general, to a senator, to the vice president. So she has no real executive experience. And so Susan Rice, the foreign policy expert. Now, who's Susan Rice? Have you heard that name before? Do you know who Susan Rice is? Let's go back in the Wayback Machine and go way, way, way back to 2012, September 11th, and Benghazi. That's right. That's Susan Rice. That's the Susan Rice that they're referring to. The one that got up that Sunday morning after Benghazi and went on all the talk shows and lied her ass off, stating that the reason that they attacked our annex in Benghazi and killed the ambassador of the United States to Libya was over a YouTube video of some guy mocking the Abu Snackbar guy. I won't say his name because he doesn't deserve. I'm not going to say the name of a false god, but you know the ones they all say Abu Snackbar to. You know when they're launching rockets into Israel. But it was Susan Rice who did that. under the Obama administration. So this Susan Rice is calling the shots for Joe Biden on foreign policy, probably a lot more than foreign policy. And because of it, because of her incompetency, which, if you take a look at what happened with Benghazi, the world is falling apart. But there's more to it than that. You see, because they really don't know. They really don't know what they're doing. They're just completely out of their element. Faking it till they make it. I mean, they talked about how incompetent Donald Trump was. You got Rachel Maddow for 4 years on NBC talking about what kind of idiot Donald Trump was. But look at the world today. Or maybe it's intentional. This is what Donald Trump said. I just want you to bring you back to Donald Trump and the little things that he said, if you could catch them back in the day.
And I'll tell you what, we are winning so big because we're going along. These are corrupt politicians, fake news, the Comeys of the world, all of the bad things that went on. It's called the swamp. And you know what happened? And you know what I did? A big favor. I caught the swamp. I caught them all. Let's see what happens. Nobody else could have done that but me. I caught all of this corruption that was going on, and nobody else could have done it. And if you look at crooked Hillary Clinton, if you look at all of the different people, there was no transition because they came after me trying to do a coup. They came after me spying on my campaign. They started from the day I won and even before I won, from the day I came down the escalator with our first lady. They were a disaster. They were a disgrace to our country. And we've caught them. We've caught them all. And we've caught them. We've caught them all. We've got it all on tape. We've caught them all. And by the way, you gave the idea for the Logan Act against General Flynn. You better take a look at that because we caught you in a sense. And President Obama was sitting in the office. He knew about it too. So don't tell me about a free transition. I caught the swamp. I caught them all.
He caught them all. You remember these things, folks? And
He caught them all. I caught the swamp. I caught them all. He said that over and over and over again. Do you think that he's going to go through all that? Do you think he's going to let them steal this election? Oh, wait a second. The election wasn't stolen. All we have to do is just ask the leadership of the Republican Party, and they'll tell us that the election wasn't stolen. Because let's just watch McCarthy right here on whether or not he feels that the election was borrowed from the American people.
But I don't think anybody is questioning the legitimacy of the presidential election. I think that is all over with. We're sitting here with the president today.
Let's listen to that again.
I don't think anybody is questioning the legitimacy of the presidential election. I think that is all over with. We're sitting here with the president today. But I don't think anybody is questioning.
I don't think anybody's questioning the legitimacy of the election. That's all over with. That's old news. As Hillary Clinton would say, that's old news. That's already been covered. We've already talked about all that. Except for this. The Maricopa audit is heating up. The left and the Democrats are desperately trying to block the process from going forward. We may be on the verge of finding out if this was the most secure election in U.S. history. I wonder if it was the most secure election in U.S. history. Let's see here. Honest election. They deleted the databases. No chain of custody. Nobody knows the admin password. Election officials panicking. Huge amounts of digitally adjudicated ballots. Not allowed to look at the routers. Routers shared with at least 50 other networks. Where were they? Election run by a private vendor. 100 lawyers defending election officials. Soros sheriff, that's the sheriff down in Maricopa, who was funded by George Soros, running interference. Ignored subpoenas. They just ignore them. They get a subpoena. We don't have to follow it. And then they delete the databases after they got this. We'll go over that in a minute. Missing ballots. Hammer and scorecard. Huh. What happened to that? Secretary of State taking campaign gifts from foreign countries. China. County voter files hacked and then covered up. SQL server backdoor. That's from Microsoft. Not allowed to discuss any of this on the socialist mainstream media. But Mr. McCarthy, he says no one's talking about it. It's no big deal.
I don't think anybody is questioning the legitimacy
No
of the
questioning.
presidential election. I think that is all over with. We're sitting here with the president today.
It's all over with. Are you at the White House? Did you actually go inside, or are you just standing outside? Or are you in Orange County, California? Inquiring minds want to know. I mean, right? Where are you at right now? So let's take a look at a couple other little things that no one's talking about, because the Republican leadership says nobody's talking about what's going on these ballots. There's nothing to worry here, nothing to see here, folks. Just go back to put your mask on, get your vaccine, shut up and get in line. Nothing to see here. Don't worry about it. We got it covered. It's okay. Trust us, because we'd never lie to you. We're the Republican Party.
Hello, everyone. It is time for America's Audit Update from the Republican Party of Arizona. I am your chairwoman, Dr. Kelly Ward. If you want to get the real story on Arizona's new election integrity law, Senate Bill 1485, tune in to our first vice chairman, Pam Kirby, on our Republican Party of Arizona Daily Update. Now let's get down to audit business. We all knew when the audit was started that it was going to be big, big news. The simple process of Americans pursuing their rights through a duly elected legislative body to hand recount and perform a full forensic audit has sent the Democrats and their big tech donors and corporate media titans into a total frenzy. They're rallying their troops. They're sending out their talking points. They've brought in teams of big money attorneys and put up every roadblock imaginable to try to stop this audit from being completed. Millions of Democrat dollars have poured right here into Arizona, and a full-fledged national anti-audit disinformation campaign is underway. They've carted out their stable of ex-Republicans or Republicans and given national attention to any single current Republican who may have had questions regarding the audit. What they don't show you are the millions of Republicans, independents, and yes, even Democrats who want to know that our elections are secure, fair, and transparent. Why the frenzy? Because the Democrat plan for re-engineering America starts with open borders and open elections. Forget the rules. Anyone can enter our country illegally, and if you ask for voter identification or try to stop phony mail ballots from being counted or stop dead people from voting, why, that's what those Democrats call voter suppression. And at this very moment, while the hand counting of ballots continues, there's a lot happening behind the scenes, and legal action is imminent. Arizona Secretary of State and political hack Katie Hobbs, who is campaigning for governor, has made her office an official nonpartisan office of the people of Arizona into ground zero for anti-audit forces. She's using taxpayer dollars to do the Democrats' dirty work, to launch lawsuits. And she's even asked for unconstitutional federal intervention, federal monitors to enter Arizona. She and the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors and their attorneys continue to put up every roadblock and make every excuse possible to try to subvert the power of the Arizona State Senate and of the Arizona courts to conduct and finish this full forensic audit. Beyond the actual recounting of each and every ballot, there is new information coming to light nearly every day as to how poorly the election in November was supervised in Maricopa County and in our state. Election officials say they didn't have access to passwords that are critical equipment, but outside vendors like Dominion did. Routers weren't secure and may have been used to allow access to a network of county offices. And now, Maricopa County Recorder Stephen Richard has revealed in a letter to voters that he learned that prior to his term, a breach of voter identification information occurred last election cycle and is now being investigated by law enforcement. If I were a Democrat, I think I'd be in a frenzy myself. We know this old adage that where there's smoke, there's fire. Well, through our efforts and through this audit, which has gained national attention, the smoke is finally clearing. So stay focused. There is plenty of news to come. I thank you for tuning in, and don't forget, support us in our efforts to make sure America's audit is completed by using the donate.
What she's outlining there is the complete fraud that happened in Maricopa. And what the Democrats, why would they spend in millions and millions of dollars? So what? So they screwed up in Maricopa County. Throw that one out, no big deal. Joe Biden's still president, right? That's not enough. If Arizona turned, big deal. Not enough. So why are they panicking? Because what this shows is how they did it everywhere. Oh, you throw that in with the Mike Lindell stuff. You throw that in with the Patrick Bine, whatever his name is, from Overstock. You throw that in with them and what they said, what they did. It turns out that just maybe they did this in every state of the union. When number 17 came out and said that Trump won California too, what if he did? Think about that. Think about what that means. Think about what that means. I mean, think about how intense all of this is. I'm setting something up for you. I want to speed this up. I'm about to play. I'm going to speed up just a little bit for time's sake. And I apologize if it's a little fast for some of y'all, but it's long and it's an interview. It gives a lot of information. It breaks down the numbers of what happened. First, let me back up. Let me set this video up here real quick. The president of the United States came out and he made a statement. He said a devastating letter written by the Senate President Karen Fawn on voting irregularities and probably fraud in Maricopa County during the 2020 presidential election. Even the database was illegally deleted after a subpoena to produce the information. Senate President Fawn has invited Maricopa County officials to a public hearing on May 18th to allow them the opportunity to try to explain what happened to the missing database, ballots, and other significant issues. Fake news and lamestream media is doing everything they can not to cover this major story. They just refuse to talk or report about it. They don't want the United States or the world to see what's going on with our corrupt third world election. Now, he puts down her statement, but we're going to watch something that's going to kind of cover all that. This says, Dominion refuses Senate request for voting machine passwords. This is what Dominion said. You see, what happened is that they subpoenaed, they got all the equipment, but the admin passwords on the equipment that doesn't allow them to enter in and see how all of the admin settings were, like how to set how the ballots are counted, or how to set which ballots were counted and which were just discarded. Okay, that password has not been received by the auditors because Maricopa County says they don't have the password. Huh. So this is what Dominion said. Releasing Dominion intellectual property to a unaccredited, biased, and plainly unreliable actor such as Cyber Ninja would be reckless, causing irreparable damage to the commercial interests of the company and the election security interests of the country. No company should be compelled to participate in such a irresponsible act. Dominion voting system responds to the Arizona Senate Republicans' demand for passwords to the ballot tabulators. These are duly elected senators in the state of Arizona who have authority by the Constitution of the United States of America, Article 2, Section 1, to conduct as they see fit the election of the President of the United States of America. And they can't have the password? Maybe this might be the reason why. It's a little long, but I want you to hear this. First, I got to unmute it. Okay.
Fan who is as straightforward and proactive, but not a fire breather, right? If she had sent a letter like this to Maricopa County with these allegations of
talking about the letter I just told
doing
you,
a forensic hand audit, I would say impossible. Not given what the Maricopa Board of Supervisors said and all the, Katie Hobbs and Maricopa County, everybody saying over and over and over again, this was the most secure, procedurally best election in Arizona history, and have Erin Burnett every night with her mantra. How many audits? You've already done 2 audits. You already done 2 audits. So when I look at these 3 major pieces, we'll get into the legal part in a second, Boris. All 3 of them are massive. I happen to think the data, the deletion of the data files, or the data files not being there, is the biggest. But I want you've been closer to this than anybody. As you see this, knowing the history and knowing else what's going to be grinding through in the weeks to come, in your mind, explain to the audience what these 3 things are and rank order them as far as shocking.
Steve, that's exactly what I'm doing. So I'm taking a look here at the letter in depth. We've been going through it ever since the first copy emerged really last night. The key here is that this letter breaks down deep, really unbelievable deficiencies that have been found while only going through about at most 20% of the 2.1 million ballots that are being reviewed. And we haven't even gotten into the canvas yet. This is all in the audit. So the first part of the letter, there it is right there. The first part of the letter, very important, talks about ongoing non-compliance with the subpoena. So things that haven't been turned over, the non-cooperation, let's put it this way, between the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors and the Arizona State Senate, the auditors, which are doing the work. Number 2 is shocking. Number 2, chain of custody and ballot organization anomalies. That makes it seem like the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors treated these ballots like throwaway toys at a carnival, okay? Not secured, seals cut, bags. Nobody. These ballots were stuffed into anything and everything, completely mismanaged. And then the key. Can we put up that chart that they had with the missing ballots? Can we put that up on screen, please, Denver? Because this is the key, and you've got to do the math here. In section number 2, they break down the missing ballots, and they give examples of ballots. And if you look at the numbers, there's one ballot where there's supposed to be 200 ballots, and there's 165 ballots. That is a discrepancy of 35 out of 200, 17.5%.
Okay, hang on. Remember, whether it's in Georgia or the whole concept is chain of custody. It's not about all votes count. It's all legitimate, legal chain of custody votes count. Now, I want legal votes count. Now, I want to get back, and when Denver, you get a shot, the guys in Denver, get that, it's that chart. Here's the way Fan laid it out. Fan laid it out as far as just raw numbers. The audience needs to focus on what Boris is saying. Boris, walk us through slowly again. It's not just the raw numbers. It's the percentages. Go ahead, walk us through it again slowly.
If we can get that chart up, Denver, that'd be very important, very useful. Look at the chart.
Where's the letter?
To everybody who is at home looking at the letter, look at section 2, and I'll walk you through it here while Denver puts it up. If you look at the chart, it says pallet 5. Okay, 200 total, 198. Discrepancy is 2. Look at the next one, pallet 5, batch 9276, 200 pink slip total, actual total 165. They are missing 35 ballots out of that batch. The last batch, they're missing 10.
Hold on. But give me percentages. The percentage is key.
35 out of 200 is 17.5%. 10 out of 10 out of 200 is.
I want people to understand. I want people to understand.
You know how shocking that is? 17.5% discrepancy in a batch is beyond belief.
Denver, I don't need the picture. I don't need the picture of Boris and Steve. The audience knows who we are. Okay. I need up there the letter. Yeah. I need up there the letter. You don't have to promote yourself, Boris. Just put the letter up there. You see the chart.
The next page, please.
This explodes off the page when you know what you're looking for. To have something that has a 17.
We need the chart. That's what explodes off the page. It's that chart. And if you take one more step and you divide the difference into the total and get the percentage of error, it is shocking. That should be 0.00001 out of 10,000 ballots. They should maybe miss one. Okay. Out of 200, they're missing 35. Out of 200, they're missing 13. And one, they've got 18 more than they're supposed to be, which is a 9% discrepancy. So it's going both ways. Again, if we are to have any confidence in elections in this country, how can we possibly be okay with discrepancies of double-digit percentages? It's absolutely mind-boggling. Anything above a tiny fraction of a percentage is unacceptable. And by the way, unacceptable according to the Federal Elections Commission. So now we know.
But hang on. Keep it in perspective. We just got to do some math here. Keep it in perspective. Under 20%, it's a three-legged stool. You've got the forensic hand audit. You've got the canvassing, and then you have the machines where they've done the facts. They're studying those now. Under 20% of the hand forensic audit. Remember, MSNBC's people have been laughing all week. Oh, they're looking at bamboo for China. This is all a joke. This is a clown show. Note to self, mainstream media. That's not what they were looking for. What they were doing is right here. Okay, and you've been outed now. Boris, and this shows you we're under, look at those percentages, and we're under 20% have actually had a hand forensic check. This is what you found so far. And quite frankly, I am shocked that it started off with these type of discrepancies. Now, we got to get into the legal, Boris. Only got a couple minutes. Fincham says, hey, look, this is not acts of omission. This is not incompetence. He thinks it slides into criminality. What say you, Boris?
Well, let's go to the next part. Number 3 is missing databases. They've got a database called Results Tally and Reporting that is missing. Results Tally and Reporting. That database has been removed. Literally the only thing that matters, which is the part of the file which keeps the results and how they were tallied and reported, that's missing. And there's evidence that these databases were removed as recently as March, right before being handed over, and these were subject to a subpoena. That is criminal activity. That is absolutely wrongful. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it distortion of evidence. You could call it evidence tempering, whatever you want to call it. That is absolutely wrongful and criminal and has to be investigated. Because there has been a subpoena on this thing for months now. There's been a subpoena from the state Senate for all of this information from the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors.
14 December.
And on their own volition, deleted information, deleted databases, someone's going to jail.
Yeah.
And again,
folks,
this goes back to, can we go back out 10,000 feet for 1 second? Okay, here's the chart. Real quick, percentages. So look at the pink slip total. That's how many you're supposed to have in there, okay? Look at the first one, fine. 2 missing out of 200. That's 1 point percentage off. Look at the next one. 35 missing out of 200 in that batch. That is a 17.5% discrepancy. Look at the next one. 13 missing out of 200. That is a 6.5% discrepancy. Next one, there's 18 more. Magically, the ballots showed up. 18 more ballots than there were supposed to be. 9% discrepancy. Next one, 10 out of 197, approximately 5%, maybe 4.8% discrepancy. This is staggering, folks. Staggering.
Boris,
if you don't look at anything else in this letter, look at this chart.
Look at this chart. Okay, real quickly, because we got to bounce. I know you got to bounce. DOJ, do they see this now and realize, hey, if we don't shut this thing down now, it's only going to explode worse? What do you think is going to happen court-wise? Because it's a public hearing has been called for, but they haven't subpoenaed anybody. Got about a minute. Walk us through what's going to happen.
Public hearing called for next Tuesday, the 18th at 1 o'clock. If the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors do not show, expect subpoenas to fly. That is the next date that you have to be looking forward to. Signal, not noise, next Tuesday. But go back 10,000 feet. The issue here is that we now know why the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors have been fighting this subpoena so hard. Why Perkins Coy's come in. Why the Democrats are pushing back. Why you've got mainstream media melting down. They've got the ballots, Rachel Maddow. Because they're hiding this. They're hiding the disaster in which they handled this election and likely the fact that Joe Biden did not win in Arizona.
Okay, Boris, real quickly, your social media. People got to follow you during the day on this.
This is huge. At Boris CP on Twitter, Boris_Epstein, Boris_EPSHTYN on the ground. We're going to come in hot all day. At Boris CP on
Okay, so if you followed us kind of fast, I know I was trying to speed it up so that for the sake of time. They were subpoenaed in December for this information that they deleted. So they're not giving, Maricopa County says they don't have the passwords to get into the admin files to make adjustments to the machinery. So the question is this: if Dominion had access to the machines and Maricopa County did not, who deleted the databases? And here's another point. This is from Code Monkey. Oh, this is from Dave. Code Monkey Zeev asked this question. This is from Dave. He says, the image is of the files. Okay, that's what he was talking about there. In the letter that was sent, they have pictures of images from the files on the computer. Okay, the images of the files that have been undeleted, that shows it was recovered by the forensic IT teams. This is not to show us that they have deleted it. It's to show that they have it all. They're asking for the password. They're denying them the password, but they've already hacked into these machines and gotten the information on what happened. You see, you can't permanently delete things unless you do it like Hillary Clinton did with BleachBit. That a good IT guy can get in there and retrieve that information. That's what they're doing. They have all this information already. They're just trying to figure out who did it. Probably already know that. When he said in that video, somebody's going to jail, somebody's going to jail. You don't commit this kind of fraud and not go to jail. That's what this is all. That's why they're dumping all this money into Arizona. That's why this Arizona is the key. But see, what you have happening right now is you have the same thing that's happening here in Arizona now in Michigan and New Hampshire. But wait a second. New Hampshire wasn't in doubt, was it? Do you see where I'm going with this? When this starts flipping, what happens in Georgia? What happens in Pennsylvania? What happens if all those states cheated this same way and it flips all those states? Then what do we do? Oh, somebody was commenting on one of my posts on Facebook. Is this the same turkey that said Jesus was coming back and going to give the presidency back to Trump? Well, Jesus is coming back, but not for that reason. But what do we do if it turns out Biden didn't actually win the presidency, that he conspired with his Democratic allies and Republican allies to steal the election with a foreign adversary? What do we do? I ask you, trolls, what would you do? What would you do if it turned out that Donald Trump had won in this manner and stole this election? Would you be like, you can't go back, no one's talking about it, Donald Trump, the real president, or would you be raising hell all over this country? It's a good thing, my friends. It's a good thing that we are patriots on our side and that we love this country, because if it wasn't that, with all of this going on. Here's one more video on this subject I want you to watch. It's not nearly as long, but it really kind of breaks some stuff down. And I'm trying to attack this from different angles and different opinions so you can get a full grasp of what's going on and how huge this really is. And expect a whole bunch of stuff coming out this weekend. Because at some point, let me drop back out of that real quick. At some point, this is some other discussion that's going on out there. Right now, what you have is you have the board of trustees and the Democrat parties in Maricopa County. They're having a big powwow today, privately, because they got to get their story straight and make sure nobody's flipping on them. Because if one person flips, it's over. You understand what I'm saying to you? People will be jumping off buildings. People will be Epsteining themselves. Because the repercussions are going to be huge. Let's hear what this guy has to say. Let me unmute it here.
D drive of the machine entitled EMS primary has been deleted. Now, EMS stands for Election Management System. So the entire database directory from the D drive of the machine EMS primary has been deleted. Now, what I'm hearing is that that was deleted approximately 10 days prior to the machines being given over to the Senate. Now that is, if that's true, and we talked about this last time when we spoke, but in virtually every, if you ask any good attorney, if you get a preservation of documents request from someone who is considering suing you or is in litigation with you, and you start to delete documents after you've been told to preserve them, you are guaranteed, I mean, nearly guaranteed to lose that lawsuit, even if you're in the right, because what you did makes you look like you're in the wrong. And that's really what we're seeing here, is that apparently 10 days prior or thereabouts, they started deleting records from these machines. I got one other piece. In addition, the main database for the election management system software called, quote, results, tally, and reporting is not located anywhere on the EMS primary machine, even though all of the EMS clients reference that machine as the location of the database. This suggests that the main database for all election-related data from the November 2020 general election has been removed. Now, again, guys, it's not. I'm not the expert here. I'm not, a forensic analyst. But what I can tell you is, from a lay perspective, from the perspective of myself as a legislator, this raises serious concerns, and it goes to show that we have to step up. We have to continue this audit, and
So there's the key data removed from these machines that implement, what am I trying to say? That prove the crime. And as I'm watching these videos, I'm sitting here with my mind's kind of thinking about this. So do you remember way back, we jump into Wayback Machine and we go all the way back to November. There was a report of a server farm being raided in Germany. And I know some people have been bashing me about, this is the guy that said a German farm. It didn't happen because MSNBC and CNN said it didn't. Where's Gina Haskell? Anybody seen her? Just asking. But do you remember that story? That was a CIA server farm, and they was grabbing they were tracing real time. They were watching real time the data from the machines going overseas. They went to Spain, and then from Spain, they went to the server farm in Germany, and then to Italy, and then back to the United States. You remember that? We've talked about that before. Anyways, there was a raid on that server farm, and the information was collected. Now, you see, you try to take that information that was collected, that proved all of this that we're talking about right now, and you try to present that in court to punish somebody, it would get thrown out because it wasn't collected properly for a court of law to prosecute somebody. But this information that this guy was just talking about, and that the previous couple folks were talking about, all this stuff going on in Maricopa County proves that information. You see where I'm going with this? Now that information's admissible. See how this is working? So what's the deep state going to do? Oh my gosh, panic. Oh, send out Rachel Maddow to mock it and say they're looking for bamboo. You all seen that video. So what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Panic Central. This is what they're going to do. Politico's playbook today leads with how Biden allies plan to arrest Donald Trump. Yes, that's right. We're already at imprisoning political opponents stage of Marxism in America. Palm Beach makes contingency plans in case Trump is indicted. Law enforcement officials in Palm Beach County, Florida, have tentatively planned for the possibility that Manhattan District Attorney C.V. Vance, Cy Vance, or whatever, could indict former President Donald Trump while he's in Mar-a-Lago, according to two high-ranking county officials, unnamed officials, involved in the planning sessions. Among the topics discussed in those meetings is how to handle the thorny extradition issues that could arise if the indictment moves forward. They have nothing, mind you. They have absolutely zero. That doesn't mean they won't indict him. To try to change the narrative, which is a lie. It goes on to talk about all that stuff. But one of the key things I want to say, the statute leaves room for interpretation that the governor has the power to order the review, potentially not complying with the extradition notice, says Joe Brazzuro, clerk of the county court in Palm Beach County. The official would be in charge of opening a potential fugitive in a large case. The wrinkle is that this guy, Joe, potential role in all this is that President Joe Biden's younger brother, Frank, Brizzo tells Playbook that despite his friendship with Joe Biden's family, he will follow the law. This dude is a buddy buds with Joe Biden's brother. And he's leaking this information about a potential arrest of Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago. The problem is he's not in Mar-a-Lago. He's went back up to Jersey. It's good to be a billionaire. Got all these nice places around. So they're going after Donald Trump because we got to change the narrative. And what is, boys and girls, what is a narrative? A narrative is a lie. As my mama used to say, a lie from the pit of hell. Because that's what it is. It's a lie to distract. You know, kind of like every time Joe Biden gets up in front of the cameras. And he had something to say about the gas line leaks here the other day. Let's hear what Joe has to say about the gas line leaks. Or the leaks, the gas line hack being shut off. Could be leaking, who knows? That might be next.
But I want to be clear, will not feel the effects at the pump immediately. This is not like flicking on a light switch. This pipeline is 5,500 miles long. It had never been fully shut down its entire history. And so fully, and we have to, now they have to safely and fully return to normal operations. It's going to take some time. And there may be some hiccups like I just had.
Hiccups. I know I'm terrible at words myself, but I'm not president of the freaking United States of America.
Region by region return to normalcy beginning this weekend and continuing into next week.
So everything's going to go back to normal. Don't worry, it's going to be fine. Gas prices aren't going to show. We don't have hyperinflation or nothing like that going on. No. It's only went from 2% to 4% in a month inflation, and that's because they don't count everything that inflates, but that's okay. I digress. What do I know? I don't know nothing about nothing anyways. Oh, so someone's trying to call me right now. It's distracting me. So then there's this post right here. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm on the pipeline crisis. If you drove an electric car, this wouldn't be affecting you. Now, I got the whole article, but I ain't got time to get to it, so I'm not going to. But basically what she's saying is, hey, just go green and we won't have to worry about pipelines. And then she goes on to say how important pipelines are. And then someone says, well, why did we shut down the Keystone pipeline if it's the most efficient way to transport gas? But I digress. And now Trump or Biden is talking about, and I got a lot more and I'm not going to get to it. I'm sorry, folks. It's just the way it is. So Joe Biden had come out and he stated that the rules are, if you want to take off the mask, you have to get the Fauci ouchie. So this says the rule is now simple. Get the Fauci ouchie or wear a mask until you do. That's it. That's what you got to do. Because the tyrant does what tyrants do. But the real question is, what is their plan to identify those without the Fauci ouchie and those with? They can't check everyone's card. Some people, like here in Missouri, don't have one. So will we need to wear an identification marker of some kind? I don't know. Maybe they could give us a little star right here we can sew on to our shirts. What do you think? I got one more thing I want to add. I'm skipping a bunch of stuff. I knew this was going to go long today, but I got one more thing that I want to add. So I made a post, Facebook side of me, all kinds of, on the Facebook and on the Telegram. And I just want to read it to you and add some comment. You see, in my little hometown, we got a battle going on the school board and on the health board. And it's blowing up in our local paper. The Sedalia Democrat. I'm calling you out on national, worldwide audience, Sedalia Democrat. That's more publication than you've gotten in years because no one buys your piece of crap paper that's now down about a page and a half. And you only print 3 times a week instead of every day like you used to. No one cares. I stopped advertising for my car lot in your paper years ago because it wasn't worth the dribble. But you already got letters to editors and stuff talking about bullying. No. You see, bullying is not when the boss tells you to do what he wants you to do. That's not bullying. No, that's not it. But that's what's going on in the town. And they're talking about we worked really hard to get a couple of people elected to our local health board. And they're bashing the snot out of them. We got one good guy on the school board, and they're bashing the snot out of him. That's bullying, by the way. We got former people that were on the board going, that's not the way it's done. These people should. I just wanted to, I wrote a little letter, a little thing, a post. And I know it's probably got some spelling errors and it's probably not grammar correct. But then again, I barely graduated from high school and I'm not a smart guy, nor do I play one on TV. And I'm dyslexic as hell, so I don't give a rip. That's why I get on here and use my mouth. But this is what I said. I said, to all local politicians, elected boards, elected councils, mayors, representatives, senators, governors, and all public servants in between, I'd like to remind you of something. Mainly, you work for us, we the people. I'd also like to call your attention to what happened in Vail, Arizona, and several other cities around the country in the last few weeks at a school board meeting in Vail. This is where the community rose up and took back control of their school board by force. Do you remember the videos? I'm not saying that it's technically correct what they did and that it might not hold up in court, but by golly, you ought to pay attention to how pissed off the people are getting. 17, you know, the big conspiracy theory, that which can't be said on social media. You know, the one that HBO and CNN and all them people are so going on and on and on about because it's so laughable, yet they can't shut up about it. You know, 17, the 17th letter of the alphabet, 17, has stated multiple times that politicians will not be able to be seen in public or walk down the streets when everything comes out. This includes you local politicians, you school boards, you health boards, you city councils, you mayors, you police commanders, you sheriffs. This includes you. The political climate in this country is changing and the American people are sick and tired and they're not going to take it anymore. You should look up the history of what happens in these kind of situations, especially in the United States of America. It's not limited to pitchforks, torches, and tar and feathers. Yes, that used to be a thing in this country when a politician wasn't listening to the folks that put him in office. It happened more than once. Government, no matter the form, only governs at the behest of the governed. And that doesn't matter if you are a communist country, if you are a king, it doesn't matter. When the people who severely outnumber the government, 340 million, 50 million Americans stand up and said, hell no, the few 100,000 in DC, the few hundred in a little city like I live in, would be overwhelmed in a minute. And by the way, many of us are armed. Government, no matter the form, only governs at the behest of the governed. Once the governed decides they no longer are going to accept the current government, all hell breaks loose. But when the long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, in vices and designs to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, no, it is their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, these cities, these people, these 350 million Americans. And such is now necessary, with which constrains them to alter their former systems of government and put in place something that better suits their needs. My friends, we are getting closer. It's a God-blessed thing that people on our side, those of you that are watching me, are patriots, and we love this country, and we do not want to see us go down this road. We beg our politicians to fall in line with the will of the American people and not make us do this. But you continue to push. You continue to be a tyrant. You continue to be my way or the highway. You're going to find out what the highway really means. At all levels of government. You think that your little kingdom and you're the director, you're the president of the board, you think you run things? Huh. Take a look at the video where they walked in and took over these school boards. And those were peaceful. They aren't throwing stones yet. You allow your minions to destroy cities as long as their political view is correct. But when we patriots have finally had enough, and our patience is strong, our patience is wide, our patience is unbelievable. God be with you. God have mercy on you, because we patriots will not. Take a look at history of what happens when we've had enough. You guys have a great day. Remember to share this video with all your friends. They need to hear it. I'll talk to you later. I'm posting in the chat my Telegram link one more time. You guys have a great day.